So another thing that if you're playing with singers is you have to be really adept at playing in different keys that you would not normally play in a traditional jazz situation. Um, that's a huge. That's another reason why I actually wanted to kind of that's a reason why I picked Con Alma as well, because it goes through some uh, keys that are a little more unusual in the jazz world. I mean, kind of starting in E major and D flat, some of the lesser standard keys. Um, so if you're playing with singers, you're going to be having to play in, I mean, if you're a jazz guy in B major and E major and F sharp and these keys that may not you don't play bebop in, and you don't play most standards in generally unless you're playing with a singer. Um, of course, for all you guitar players and pop guys, like E major's the best key, and B major's the best key. It's they're great. Um, so I think what playing with singers kind of really helps you do is it goes from it doesn't feel like E flat is easier than G flat. They all kind of start to become the same because you're doing it. You're working, especially I don't know, especially if you're playing other styles of music too. Because if you're playing any kind of pop gig and having a solo over it, you're gonna be really needing to understand how to negotiate, all 12 keys really effortlessly. Um, and that's honestly not something you would get on a strictly straight ahead gig sometimes. Like you may go a whole gig playing F, E flat, B flat, G, you know, C. That's not unheard of. So yeah, so playing with singers is like the most it's the best thing you can do for your accompaniment skills, and it's the best thing you can do is I remember Dave Holland said it at a clinic once years ago. He said play with as many singers as you possibly can. I didn't really understand why he said that at the time, but I think I kind of have an understanding now because of those things. Like you have to support, and you have to, and it's gonna make you play in a lot of different keys, and it's gonna make you have to not just play in those keys, but transpose quickly, because that's another really important skill that has been super important for me in my career is transposing, being able to figure out songs in different keys quickly, or hopefully, depending on the song, but um, but yeah, because you're in the studio or you're in rehearsal with a singer, and very often, if they're a good singer, or a great singer, they're going to say, "Hey, you know what? Can we try that up a half step, or can we try that down a half step or a whole step?" Because I think it'll just fit a little better in my voice, or. And if a singer ever tells you that, you trust them and believe them because they're telling you if they're telling you something specific like that, they know something about their voice that's really going to make that performance pop. Um, so if it's a matter of like physiology, like with people's voices, because everyone's built differently. Everyone has a different, you know, singing voice and speaking voice. So it's really interesting how, um, I mean, like I think some young musicians too that don't sing think that a half step is a small interval, but a half step is huge interval. A half step is like a mile in a vocals world, because that could be the difference between where their voice breaks or where they have there's some little note that just whatever reason because of their throat and nose just resonates perfectly and it hits these overtones. So it's really particular to singers, and you really have to trust that, um, and yeah. And you have to be able to accommodate that and be able to do it quickly.